Okay, so I want to say a few things to you that are inspired by the book I was telling you about, The Path of Least Resistance, and are about the difference between having a reactive or a creative orientation toward life. We talked when we were talking about the different brains and what motivates those brains, about how it oscillates between fear and greed or craving, fear of pain, desire for pleasure, right? Like that you've got this motivational system hardwired in there that's about avoid the pain, get the pleasure, avoid the pain, get the pleasure, and that serves you for survival purposes, and how that gets translated upwards through your three brains to, like, keep people happy and avoid disapproval, or get the sex and get the love and stuff like that, and then it gets translated upward into the neocortex, the thinking brain, in terms of like, do what you should, don't do what you shouldn't, and that becomes all part of the survival mechanism, that your whole fight, flight, survival mechanism is attached not only to avoiding tigers and getting food, but also to keeping people happy, doing what you should, not doing what you shouldn't. That system is what we could call reactive and responsive. You're always, like the two sides of the dilemma that you were talking about were like, avoid this fear and now avoid that fear. Like, they keep you reactive and isolating, and they're usually paired up. See, in sort of a no-win scenario, right? Like trying to fulfill your shoulds is a no-win situation. It's like being in a vice, right? Well, I should be assertive and outspoken, but I should be, humble and demure. I should be confident, but I shouldn't be arrogant. And I should this and that, and it's kind of like, do you get what I'm saying? That's where the vice and virtue cycle comes in. It's kind of like you get caught in these reactive loops back and forth. So that movement in the direction of satisfying this one creates tension that shoots you back to that one. It's a little abstract, but do you get the sense of what I'm saying? Like your example, Mr. Sam, your example of procrastinating, and there's some things that you think you should do and that you don't want to do, but that is one of those oscillating reactive responsive situations where it's like, I should clean up my room, and I'm ashamed and guilty if I don't, so I want to get away from that pain, that fear of being a bad person, so I start trying to clean up my room, but then when I'm cleaning up my room, it brings up this anxiety of like, I don't like doing this, or I'm going to do it wrong, or I'm all by myself or something. For me, what's that? I won't do a good job. I won't finish.
Doing it, I'll make a big mess, and then I'll be living in an even bigger mess because all the half-finished, stuff will be out.
Right.
Stay out forever.
Right. So then you try to escape that feeling by stopping doing it, distracting with something else. But then that builds the tension of like, I'm not cleaning my room. Back and forth. You see what I'm saying? It's a no-win situation. It's a loop, or Mike, we're talking here about the top dog, bottom dog scenario. Guilt trip, you shouldn't be bad. Then on the other side, yeah, I'm sorry, but get off my back. I don't deserve this. I'm going to blow you off, and then I'm angry that you're blowing me off, and it goes around and around, and it doesn't actually. Yeah. So it's a system that masquerades as supporting change, but actually doesn't support much change. Tends to be a repetitive loop and leave you feeling pretty disempowered, like you're just reacting or responding to your cravings or your fear of pain. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So if that's the reactive responsive mode, then we're proposing that there is another possibility, which is the creative mode. And the way that this guy that was writing about it in a way that I liked talked about it was as an artist, and he's a music composer. Could you please be quiet in there? A music composer, and as am I, and the example that he uses is like when you are creating a work of art, going from nothing to a finished work of art. So he proposes accurately, I think, that what you need in order to do a good job of creating is the creative tension that's created between, on the one hand, completely accepting your current reality as it is, seeing it for what it is, seeing the truth about what it is, and accepting it. Not fighting it, because then once you're fighting it, then you're back into the reactive responsive mode. Oh God, it shouldn't be like this. This is terrible. If you're caught up in that, you're not a very good creator. You're busy just fighting with yourself about what is so. So on the one hand, seeing and accepting reality as it is, and on the other hand, having a compelling vision of what you want to create. A vision that you are truly inspired by, that calls you forth. That you feel an inner pull towards. And that the creation is about holding both of those at the same time. Well, here's where I am. Here's my inspiring vision of where I want to go. And that when you hold both of those things simultaneously, there's kind of a creative tension or energy that's generated that kind of pulls you toward the direction of that which you want to create. Does that make sense? It's a little challenging to stay in that tension, and the temptation is to either downgrade or eliminate your vision. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's fine. What I got is cool, whatever. Or get into some kind of denial about current reality. Pie in the sky, oh yeah, everything's great, la la la, you know, ooh la la la. Paint a rosy picture and be in denial about what's actually at your feet. So, you know, with a piece of art, you know, that's like me. Okay, I'm sitting there. I have this inkling of the vision of the kind of song I want to create. It's got this kind of mood. It communicates this kind of message. But here I am. I've got, you know, 3 chords, and okay, it's not that. And just sitting with both of those is kind of like moving toward it gradually and being pulled in. Is that fitting the vision? No, that's not going. No, I'm getting off track. But that's just a relatively small and simple example. It can be that creative act with your whole life. So in here, for our purposes, I have implied certain visions about where we might be headed, what we're trying to create out of meeting. And I've been trying to draw attention to what is, here's what is, and trying to draw attention to it in a way that doesn't fight it, that accepts it. Oh, that's the reality. Yep, I'm recreating my old drama. There it is. But it may well be that the vision can be more clearly spelled out and more clearly entertained by you or tweaked by you and chosen by you if it's what you choose. So, for instance, part of that vision for me is staying responsible for my own experience and avoiding the temptation to blame others for my experience and feel sorry for myself about it, but to rather maintain a sense of responsibility and choice myself. So that's part of the vision that I hold up as something I am moving towards. Am I in that all the time? No. But if I'm currently if I keep returning to and accepting current reality, I can say, whoops, falling short of the vision right now. Whoops, just slid into some blame or victimhood or feeling sorry for myself. I have this vision, the possibility, the way that I suggest speaking in here is part of that vision. Potentially that way of speaking supports the vision of taking ownership of your ownership and responsibility for your own experience and just naming it instead of trying to blame somebody else. Or part of the vision, another way I've said that same thing basically that I got from Buddhism is, how am I creating my own suffering right now? And keeping returning. So if you have the vision of learning how you create your own suffering and stopping, then everything works to your advantage. If you really hold that, you're like, oh great, I'm suffering now. So this is a wonderful opportunity to learn how I'm creating it and to possibly step out of it. Are you always holding that vision and being inspired? No, Oh, I notice I'm feeling sorry for myself and pissed off that I'm in suffering right now. But maybe I can re-presence the vision of being responsible and being interested in how I create it and stepping out. Does that make sense? And you will keep falling out of that creative orientation into the reactive responsive one. But there's at any given moment the opportunity of reclaiming a creative orientation by noticing what's really so in the moment and presencing your inspiring vision of what you're trying to create out of your own life. Does that make sense? So, the invitation is to just keep getting more and more real with yourself about who you are right now, how you show up right now, what your patterns are right now, and not judge them, not fight them, not beat yourself up for them. Just like, okay, the canvas is blank, or the canvas has 3 big blue splotchy shapes on it. What if the painter is looking at the canvas saying, God, this canvas is blank? Doesn't help any creation. The canvas is blank. There it is. That's what I've got to work with. There's no good there's no good or bad in it. It's just reality. And here's how it's different than the inspiring vision I have for myself of embodying love, of being free from fear, of being responsible for your own choices, of being intimate and connected to the people you come in contact with, whatever your particular vision is. And then, when you hold those two things simultaneously, it's like they say, where there's a will, there's a way. If you're really holding those two things simultaneously, the means present themselves. You know, what I'm talking to you about is the means that have presented themselves to me in response to that creative tension. The things that I've either come across other people saying and said, oh yeah, I like that, and keeping that, or the things that kind of occurred to me spontaneously in response to the problem. Well, how am I going to, oh, okay, maybe I can try this, you know, and just kind of like experimentation and stuff like that. But if the creative tension and commitment are there, the means will present themselves.
I understand the idea of accepting where you're at, being real with what your blank canvas is and where you're at. Can you speak a little bit more about what the vision is? That what you're thinking in terms when you talk about it, you mean like a vision that I'm going to be less afraid in general, or be more less reactive, or is it also like a career change? What kind of, when you say a vision of what you want to be up as?
Well, it could be anything. I mean, you can use the creative orientation towards your career by all means. In this space, I'm applying it toward you know, personal transformation, and you know, just less afraid or something like that is partly helpful. But the clearer and clearer and clearer you can get about the vision, the more helpful it is. So that's why I sort of like try to help paint the vision. Like I don't think people even get the distinction of not blaming at first. I don't think that people even get the possibility of a world in which there is no right or wrong. It's like, what? It's not a vision we grew up with. It's not a vision that's enshrined in our culture anyplace. So for me, a lot of my time is sort of like trying to say, imagine this. Can you see the possibility of this vision? Can you see it? Can you see it? And trying to promote that vision and inspire people with that vision and indoctrinate them with that vision. But the idea is to get clearer and clearer on what that would look like. What it would look like to not be blaming someone else. What it would look like to be able to feel your own insides from the inside out at all times. So that's, you know, a vision is feeling yourself. Feeling, and then the recurrent reality is I'm kind of noticing a lot of numbness. But not beating yourself up, just sort of like, I'm noticing numbness, and there is the possibility of feeling. I'm just going to be with both of those simultaneously. I'm not going to escape that conflictedness. So this is like a creative conflictedness, choosing a kind of self-generated conflictedness or creative tension. I choose to see what really is right now, and I choose to take on an inspiring vision that I want just because I want it. Not because I should, not because it will make me safe, not because, just like, you know, do I need to create a song? No, I don't. You know, I may slip into, oh, if I create a song, then people will think I'm cool and blah, blah, blah. But if I'm creating out of that place, then I'm back into responsive, reactive land. If I'm meditating, for instance, are they going to come in and see me now? Then I'm back in reactive, responsive land. As opposed to, I would just like to bring this song into being for the sheer joy of having created that song and experiencing it. something you have to do in order to be good. It's not something that you'll be a failure if you don't. It's just your joy of creation that you're taking on.
Because I've had some experiences like getting a band together, the energy it took, and I really had a vision of how this band's going to dance and help people with all these steps. But I really like the comparison parasympathetic release. Putting a band together of myself.
And so whenever you catch yourself procrastinating, feeling guilty, resenting, blah, 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 you can know, okay, I'm slipping and doing so in an unconscious way. And you're like, okay, I'm slipping back into reactive land. Can I re-choose creativity in this moment? Can I choose to notice exactly how I'm feeling? Okay, I'm frustrated, I'm such and such and so and so. And I'm choosing to learn. I'm choosing to use this as an opportunity for healing and for growth. In that context, it's not a problem. In that context, it's an opportunity again. Oh, here it is. Okay. How am I creating this? Interesting. What am I making up? How am I generating this? What am I afraid of? You know, how do I be compassionate with myself in this moment? It becomes a creative opportunity. And the more that you really adopt that orientation, the more your life becomes a kind of a thrilling adventure or a rewarding ride. So that, yeah, you still have pain or suffering that you go through, but you find the process of navigating it more rewarding. You're not as afraid of it. You don't see it as much of a failure or a problem. It's like, this is my job, in which I take pleasure, in which I take a certain sense of reward. Even when it's a challenging job, I feel a sense of like, job well done, made some progress. I can see myself moving closer to the vision. You know what I mean? Cool.
Spiritual project.
Yeah. I am my own project. My life is my own creation. I'm going to make art out of my fucked up life. I'm going to create art out of my own neurosis, fear, whatever. And I don't have something better to do, and I don't need to finish it in X amount of time. It's my project. I've taken it on. Good for me. Here we go.
But like all good projects, it's a lot of work and talent.
Yeah. But what's the difference between rewarding work that feels good, like, I liked, having to work for that a bit. I feel rewarded. I can see a result. Yeah, that's good. Compelling. It's exciting. You're wondering what's going to come next. Oh, wow, look at what that, oh, cool. I didn't expect that. This relationship took a turn that I never would have guessed. Wow. I learned something totally unexpected by surrendering to that situation. Good for me. I feel good about that. Oh yeah, I handled myself well in that situation, even though the situation was a painful one. Oops, nope. Fell off the wagon big time there. But chalk it up to experience. At least I saw it. How might I respond differently next time? Yeah? Any comments or questions on that?
Well, I said it as if it was a joke, but really, the inspiring vision is to be able to maintain awareness of those two, and of my place in that process.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds great, and finding the willingness to be with that and aware and present.
The possibility of presence is part of the vision. The possibility of being awake instead of being in a trance.
Right.
So how often can you notice, oh, current reality is I'm in a trance. But by just noticing that, I've just represented the vision.
For me to make progress with that, I would have to do more thinking about what the vision is. So I have this vague sense of wanting to better myself and not repeat old stupid habits. But I had, like, when I had things like abstract art project and band, it was clear what I was trying to do. To move to my soul and my deepest wisdom, but not quite as definitive.
Totally. And that's why, again, I say, part of my job is promoting the possibility of a vision. So, you've picked up pieces of the vision since you've been in this circle. You spontaneously, outside of this circle, say stuff like, about what you're noticing in your body, or that you're creating the suffering you're in, or that you've got stories running. So by noticing that, it means you're inculcating the vision of the possibility of something different. Cool.
All I'm getting right now is light.
Any other comments or questions? All right then.